Hi, my name is April Brazil, and my presentation is on their paper written by Ferguson et al. This paper is titled "The Indiana Bat Roosting Behavior Differs Between Urban and Rural Landscapes." It was published October 8, 2019 in the Springer Science and Business Media, LLC. It is from pages 79 to 91. And this paper goes into depth about the ecology of bats in urban and suburban areas and how it has been studied very infrequently, as most bat research takes place in rural landscapes. The Indiana bat is a federally endangered bat species that relies on forests for roost and foraging resources during its reproductive period and throughout its range. The objective of this paper and their research was to investigate the differences in summer roosting behavior of female Indiana bats located in rural and urban landscapes. The study area where the data was collected was from Indiana bat mitigation areas around the Indianapolis International Airport. This is what they call the fragmented site, and the area in and around the hardwood ecosystem experience, which is a contiguous site. The fragmented site was in Plainfield, Indiana, and is dominated by agriculture and urban land cover with a small amount of forest, and the contiguous site is two subsites that were approximately about 25 kilometers apart, and this is Morgan Monroe State Forest and Yellowwood State Forest. And these are dominated by large and contiguous upland deciduous forests. These are some figures and tables that are included in the paper. It just goes more into depth about the difference between the fragmented and contiguous site. And it shows that the fragmented site was 6540 hectaacres, and the contiguous site was 6448 acres. And on the figure 1 to the right, you can see how they mapped out the different sites, A, B, and C. They used different methods in their experiment. One was the landscape description, and this was determine the landscape composition by calculating the proportions for land cover types, and the four they used were agriculture, urban, forest, and water. And they determined the difference in landscape configuration. To do that, they calculated the total edge, density, and contagion index. And they also used roost sampling, and they did this May through August over 3 years in the fragmented site. So they did it from 2013 to 2015, and May through August over 2 years in the contiguous site, which was just 2014 and 2015. They used mist nets, and they opened them approximately 30 minutes before sunset and closed them 2 to 5 hours after sunset, and they checked them every 10 minutes for bats. They recorded the sex, age, reproductive stage. They also determined whether they had white nose syndrome wing damage, and their forearm length and body mass. And once they captured them and they took all these measurements and recorded all of this, they fixed them with radio transmitters. And in the fragmented site, they tracked bats to day roost for an average of 9 plus or minus 1 day per bat. And in the contiguous site, they tracked the bats day roost for an average of 5 plus or minus 1 day per bat. The analysis: bat boxes and other artificial roosts provided warmer microclimates than natural tree roosts. They used a type 3 two-way ANOVA's test for the differences in roost characteristics between sites, roost classifications, and the interaction between these factors, and all of their statistical tests were run through our software. The results: the fragmented site, they surveyed 128 calendar days between May and August in 2013, 14, and 15, and 311 total net nights. And they captured 857 bats during this time. In the contiguous site, they surveyed 55 calendar days, May through August, between the years of 2014 and 2015, and 224 total net nights. And they captured 321 bats during this time. They tracked twice as many Indiana bats and located more roosts in the fragmented site versus the contiguous site, and the bat boxes in the fragmented site were used around 9 times as many days when compared to tree roosts in the same site. A higher percentage of live tree roosts in the fragmented site than in the contiguous site, so they found that more bats use live tree roosts in the fragmented site than the contiguous site, but in both sites, primary roosts were exclusively in snags or bat boxes, while the secondary roost varied condition by site. Secondary roosts tend to be lived in trees in the fragmented site and snags in the contiguous site. And primary roosts in the fragmented site were located in trees that were approximately twice as tall and 11 times closer to forage edge than the secondary roost in the contiguous site. And this is figure 2, it's on page 85. It just shows the number of roosts used by adult female and juvenile Indiana bats in the trees of various genera. So as you can see, the fragmented site, they like the Carya a lot more than they did the other ones. And in the contiguous site, they preferred the Populus. And this is the differences in roost characteristics among 4 groups of Indiana bats. Maternity roosts located in 2 sites differing in landscape structure in Indiana. This is from May to August 2013 to 2015. So here you can see the roost scale, the plot scale, and the stand scale, and all the subcategories within that between the fragmented site, their primary and secondary roost, and the contiguous site, their primary and secondary roost, and then you can see where their test statistics come from. And this is on page 85, it's figure 3, and it just shows the percentages of primary and secondary roosts used by adult females and juvenile Indiana bats in 4 categories of canopy closure at the roost and plot scales. So this will show the percentage of roosts in roost canopy closure category, and it just shows the primary roost of the and secondary roost of the fragmented and contiguous site. And down there at the bottom, you can see the key what they prefer, where this shows that in the fragmented site, they really preferred the secondary roost with more canopy cover, and in the contiguous site, they preferred a little less canopy cover. Their studies suggest that Indiana bat maternity colonies behave differently in landscapes with varying amounts of forest coverage, fragmentation, and urbanization. The fragmented site, the authors suggest that managers prioritize forest retention and restoration along with promoting natural roost recruitment cycles to ensure adequate number of roosts are available for future maternity colonies. As you can see in the fragmented site, they did prefer more canopy cover than in the contiguous site, so that's why they say that. And in the contiguous site, they suggest large numbers of mature trees should be a target. And they also suggest that managers take action to promote forest heterogeneous in both structure and age. And for both sites, they recommend that bat boxes only be used as a temporary mitigation tool, and there is no evidence that they are a proper surrogate for a natural roost. So overall, they determined that depending on the type of landscape area and type of forest coverage, fragmentation, urbanization that is in the site depends exactly on where the Indiana bats prefer to roost. So within these different sites, there should be different mitigation efforts to prioritize the roosting behaviors of the Indiana bats since they are so endangered. All right, that is my presentation. Thank you so much.